Oh, wow. Welcome back, the Sports Ranter Nation. I want to say thank you to our host, Andrew and Ben, for joining us here again, starting off Season 5, Episode 1 of Season 5. Guys, some really exciting news. I said before we do that, before we share that with you, we want to say thank you to the Sports Ranter Nation, to the 20,000 subscribers around the world, still chiming in and getting the right advice you need to build your championship team. Surprise shout out to soccerverse.com for a possible collaboration with the Sports Rancher. Okay, they are a blockchain company game. Okay, a play to earn game working with Polygon Matic, and they are also licensed through FIFA, working with the current international soccer players of the world, and you can basically be like your own team manager. Set a strategy, set your team, own some clubs, and you can earn while you learn how to work with this company. So more on that in the future, but like I said, it's just a thank you, just a shout out to soccerverse.com. We'll be working with you soon in the future. So Drew, it is the best time of the year, is it not?
It is. It is the golden era here.
Why is it the golden era, sir? Tell the
It's
folks
it's about
why it's the best part of the world.
it's about to be draft week. It's time to prep. It's time to do some mock stuff. It's time to start looking in the news. It's starting to start really just hopefully you're able to get a draft with your boys
Tell your
and
wives, tell your wives, tell your family. All right, you're checked out for about 3 straight days. Okay, sorry.
just really have some fun with your friends that and a lot of us are married and have kids and this that and the other, and so that one time a year is really some of the times it's our only time to see each other for the whole year. So it's always really fun. Some of us have moved, some of us done this that and the other, so it's always a really fun day to get together and just have some fun with the boys.
100%, 100%. It is the greatest day or greatest time of the year. It really is the end of August always for us. You know, it was before for us here at the Sports Renter. It was just draft week, all right? But now, since we've been doing this all for so long, it is all now the start of the season of our show, the Sports Ranter, okay? We have a 9 month season, okay, where we start the beginning of fantasy football all the way till NFL draft, end of April next year, okay? But we're also missing two of our experts, Jake and Nick, out on vacation. They're hardworking men here, but still choose to come here every Monday night as soon as all the games are done. Right now, we're going to chime in at halftime on Monday nights when all the emotions are hot, and we can get to it quick about what we need to do for our fantasy, because we already know starting week 1, people are going to be in panic mode. Right, Drew?
Yep.
Every year, it's the same thing every year. We have a party, we're high fiving, we're slapping hands. We're having draft day, we're talking and building up our team. And then week 1 happens, everybody tanks, then we all panic mode. Not everybody panics mode like I do. Okay, but we need to help our viewers, right? Our 20,000 subscribers and all our current viewers around the world. We need to help them, Drew. We need to help them. It sucks for them that they don't have also Jake and Nick here today, but it's okay. We're gonna keep it going. We're happy to have you here, Drew, and be a part of us and growing with the sports ranter. So let's get it started. Here's what normally happens. We're gonna change it up this year. Normally we do top five quarterback, top five running back, wide receiver, and tight end. We're not talking about defenses today. We don't have time. Okay, but normally we do top five, and we all know what the top five is gonna be. Perfect.
Bingo.
So there's always that guy that complains that he's the seventh, eighth, ninth, or 10th, 11th. Like it's irrelevant that you can't win the fantasy in those picks. So what we're going to talk about is that second tier quarterback, that second tier running back, and wide receiver and tight end to help you build into those later rounds, second rounds. Obviously, we always miss in the first, so those second and third rounds become vital, vital. I don't want to talk. I don't want to talk about first round bust. I'm not talking about first round bust with you guys, okay? But uh, so we're gonna do that, and at the end of it, instead of talking about sleepers, Jake, we're gonna talk about bust guys that you should most likely stay away from. Considering the consideration, and one of my favorite parts every year with fantasy is the trades, the free agency, the new coaching, the concoction of all the new teams, and somehow you can just see something manifest out of it, and that's what I like seeing. Just like I saw that one year with Dalvin Cook and the Jets, Dalvin Cook and the Jets in the second round was a great pick, right? And so that's what I'm talking about here today. Anyways, Drew. Let's start us off. Go ahead and mention who you think those top five are, whatever, or what people know, and then get into who you think this next tier quarterbacks is something who's interesting this year.
Okay, give me 1 second here. Let me go on ESPN and I'll just go off the top five what they have. ESPN rankings for the top five running backs are going to be Jameer Gibbs, Ashton Jeanty, Brian Robinson, Christian McCaffrey, and Devon A. Chain. Those are going to be your top three or your top five. And then according to ESPN rankings, you also have Jonathan Taylor, Saquon Barkley, Omarion Hampton, Brees Hall, Derrick Henry, and it looks like maybe Jeremiah Love's kind of in that mix. So obviously it's a lot of the guys that we know, right? It's a lot of guys that are going to be household names for sure, right? Obviously, you have a rookie in there and Jeremiah Love. Derrick Henry's getting 1 year older. How much can you trust this, that, and the other, right? So, for me, it kind of breaks down to what scoring system are you playing in, right? What scoring system are you playing in? Obviously, is a huge factor. Okay, if you're in a PPR league, yeah, I understand Derrick Henry's gonna be a little bit lower in the list. We all three play in both leagues together, right? We play in a standard scoring league, which is basically forgotten about nowadays, and we also play in a PPR league, a full point PPR league. So the rankings are always gonna be different. According to how you play. Like Jonathan Taylor in a standard league is going to probably be borderline top five. For sure, like that like probably like sixth or seventh ranking, right? That's where you're probably going to put Jonathan Taylor at. Derrick Henry's probably going to work in that 6 or 7 ranking too because he's not going to need to catch balls. Where if you're in a full point PPR league, somebody like Devon Achane, somebody like Chase Brown, those guys are going to go up immensely because the fact that it's a PPR league. Even Jeremiah Love, who I'm a little bit weary about, I'm not gonna lie. He's gonna get ranked up higher because he's such a good pass catcher in the backfield, right? So even if they want to put James Conner in there and work Jeremiah Love in the slot or this, that, and the other, have a two running back style system, however they want to do it there. Jeremiah Love's value goes up higher in a PPR league than a regular standard league. So it's just one of those things where you want to look at, know your scoring, know your format, and then basically kind of go off of that. Ashton Jeanty is also one of those kind of guys where I feel like people are going to he's definitely going to get drafted in the first round. I don't think there's a question about that, but I think he's one of those kind of players where I question it, right? I question the usage. Yeah. I question how well. Obviously, he's going to get a lot of looks, right? He's a rookie quarterback. They're going to feed Jeanty. I get that, but he's already kind of going to the season with a little bit of a banged up and an injury, right? Luckily, he escaped a huge injury, and it just basically came off of an ankle sprain. We just found that out today. So he's going to be a little bit hobbled maybe going into the week one. But at the end of the day, you should get normal production from Ashton Jeanty.
Okay.
But I feel like
maybe that's debatable.
I feel like asking you guys, who do you see more value in, right? Like, these are some of the topics I'm sure people are going to have. Like, where do you see more value in? Do you see more value in Jonathan Taylor, or do you see more value in, like, Ashton Jeanty?
Jake, go ahead.
Well, and I think regardless of what, short answer quick to that, I see more value in Jonathan Taylor because you look at both guys and both teams, the Raiders did invest a pick in Mike Washington is the guy's name behind Jeanty, in the offseason in the draft. But both those guys are getting all the workload. They're getting all the volume. And if you go look back at Jonathan Taylor's numbers when Daniel Jones was healthy last year, before Daniel Jones tore his Achilles, he was absolutely destroying fantasy football. He was. It wasn't even close. So Jonathan Taylor, to me, those guys are not in the same tier. To me, Jonathan Taylor is one of those top 5 guys. By the way, the top 5 that I was talking about, you're splitting hairs between Gibbs, John Robinson, Christian McCaffrey, Jonathan Taylor, and I'm sorry, if you look at the numbers between everybody, it was James Cook. There's nobody closer.
Oh, yeah. I don't know why ESPN doesn't have him there, though. It's kind of strange.
Yeah, dude.
ESPN,
DJ Moore?
I'm starting to realize that if you give everybody the top 300 for ESPN's top 300, it's almost a sabotage on draft day. So go ahead and take it. But for ESPN to not have him there, to me is a little bit insane, considering he's one of the very few guys where they did not invest anything in the backfield. They still have the same offensive coordinator, now head coach, and the offensive line and all that's still the same. So anyway, but if you're specifically talking between Ashton Genty and Jonathan Taylor, it's 2 guys that are getting all the volume. It's 2 guys that are 3-down backs. It's 2 guys that get a lot of dump off passes in the short game. It's just Jonathan Taylor's better. He is on a better offense. That offensive line is great, and I think Genty's offensive line has improved as well. These guys are very close, but to me, I'm taking Jonathan Taylor.
Fantastic. Drew, are there any double running back systems that you're either trying to stay away from, or you're either looking into? For instance, Carolina. We've been going back and forth with Chuba Hubbard every year. Now Rico Dowdle. Everyone's excited about Jonathan Brooks. Okay, finally coming out. And so, you personally, without any bias, what are you doing in this situation when it comes to Chuba Hubbard and Jonathan Brooks?
Well, I mean, at that point, you're looking at probably I would assume 4th to 5th round, probably shooting darts at that point with Chuba. I think Chuba's still going to be the higher rated running back in that situation, higher drafted running back, where you can take a little bit more of a flyer on Jonathan Brooks, right? I mean, nobody knows really anything about Jonathan Brooks other than the fact that he's had back-to-back ACL injuries, but obviously they drafted him at a super high level. I think it was a 2nd round draft pick. They invested in him. They kept him on the roster. He's there for a reason, right? The guy is gonna get opportunities. It's just a matter of, it's kind of like drafting a rookie running back. You don't really know what you're going to get, right? And especially in a situation where Chuba Hubbard, he's been paid. They let Rico Dowdle go, basically because they know they have a guy like Jonathan Brooks right there, right? So, but at the end of the day, I think it's Chuba Hubbard's job more than Jonathan Brooks. We know that Chuba Hubbard isn't really a huge red zone guy, so that definitely could eat into his draft value. Where I feel like Jonathan Brooks that's where it can make Jonathan Brooks a little bit better, is that he could get some of those red zone snaps and targets and this, that, and the other. But at the end of the day, I'm looking into it. For me, it's not something that I'm gonna go out and sell out for. It's not something that I'm marking on my picks that I have to get this guy. But somebody like Jonathan Brooks is interesting because you can probably get him in the 8th or 9th round more than likely, and at that point he's just a stash on your bench. And if he starts blowing up, then he can be a league winner, kind of like how Javonte Williams was last year. You know what I mean? Those are the guys that you want.
Jake, please.
Just to make sure everybody knows, Jonathan Brooks, that secret's out now. Jonathan Brooks' ADP is now up and pretty much actually right near Chuba Hubbard's. And in some leagues, Jonathan Brooks is going Jonathan Brooks is ahead. I'm looking at the sleeper rankings right now, and Jonathan Brooks, they have ADP at 72, sixth round. Almost late 6th, early 7th.
Okay.
So, and they came out and they did say that this is actually going to be more of a 50-50 time split. Carolina, to me, doesn't score enough points. Both those guys are I'm doing this. Jonathan Brooks was a fantastic value where he was because people forgot about him. But everybody in camp has said he looks fantastic. he's shot up immensely in the ADP. So now it's kind of exactly what we're saying. It's kind of just a time bomb to where I don't think where they're going, either of them. I mean, you're at least just looking on Sleeper. Jonathan Brooks is going around Blake Corum, J.K. Dobbins. Rico Dowdle was a few ahead, and then Jakrowski Merritt, full-time starter. So in that area, there's other guys.
I don't think I'd touch either one of those.
I think you guys are right, and they're pretty open about their high volume with T-Mac, and so that's obviously going to be their number one. Their offense is through him, not through the run game. So, anyways, let's stay here in the running back situation when it comes to bust. We're no longer talking about sleepers, and so, but Jake, we've gone through this how many times? Guys that are expected to put up, guys that bust. Double quarterback situations, coaching situations. I think we have an experience to think who has potential to bust this year as a running back.
Well, hold on one sec. You gotta define bust. Okay, Ashton Genty last year finished as RB8 or something like that. But Ashton Genty to me was considered a bust because where people drafted him at, and I drafted him in 2 leagues, and I think he was running back. He was an RB1, meaning he finished in the top 12. But where people drafted him, you didn't feel like you got that return, in the investment. So I'm looking at right now just the lists of where people's ADP is and all that. And I feel like you got right now you got Jeremiah Love, and people are talking about him as being one of those guys, as a finishing top 10 and all that. I think the volume's going to be there. I think that he's going to have a lot of work. I think that the Cardinals are going to have to, they're not going to be. He's the pass catcher over Algier and all that, but I just don't think that the offense is going to be good enough. I don't think that they're going to score enough touchdowns. And with Algier, if you go back and you look, Algier was behind Bijan Robinson. Yep. They paid Algier money to come in, and he's a great back. The guy's a bulldozer. He's a powerhouse. And I think a lot of those red zone inside the 5. Runs are going to go to Algier. I think that Jeremiah Love's going to – at the end of the year, you're going to look, and he's probably going to be around an RB1 or maybe an early RB2. But where people are drafting him, if you go with a guy like Puka in the first round and then come back around and Jeremiah Love is your first running back, I think you're going to be disappointed. I really do. I just don't think you're going to get that value that you expected from him to be where you drafted him. The other one I'm completely staying away from is Bucky Irving. Bucky Irving, there's just – if you look at all the metrics and things like that, Bucky Irving was dynamite. But right now – right now, camp reports are saying that he's splitting time with Kenny Gainwell. Kenny Gainwell – does a lot of the same things that Bucky Irving did well, a lot of pass catching and all that. Yep. Bucky Irving is another one that I'm staying away from. I'll kick it to Drew before we get into other positions because there's obviously going to be busts at other positions. But I would say the last one, and it's hard because I really like this guy. And I find myself every single time I get in every one of my mock drafts, I want to draft him every single time. He's always there. But that's Quinshawn Junkins. And it's like the Browns are still the Browns.
I know.
And they got no quarterback right now. And I think they just named Deshaun Watson the starter.
Yep.
And he's just I think he's going to be a disappointment too, especially his yards per carry last year were actually lowest in the league. But anyways, those are my busts for the running backs.
Drew, let's go ahead and start with the wide receiver for the sake of time. Let's go ahead and go on to the next tier for a wide receiver. We'll go through all that, right? We'll go through who we think is going to be good, Then we'll go through who's going to be the bust. So, like I said, who's going to be that 7 to 12 tier, when you're in that pick, who you looking for to wrap around for you for that receiver or be there for you in the first round? Well, Robert.
Give me 1 second. Let me get to that receiver ranking here. Who do I like? Who do I like in that second tier level? I know a lot of you guys think I am absolutely crazy, but
Oh.
dude, I think I'm gonna say this. These receivers this year, for me in general, if you don't get one of the top top studs that we all know, right? Like one of the CDs, the Amon-Ra St. Browns, the JSNs, the Jamar Chases, the Puka Nakuas, after Nico Collins, dude, it kind of gets scary. Like it really does kind of get scary. Like because then you're getting to this point where you're going to Drake London, who they don't have a quarterback, right? You got Malik Neighbors just coming off of an injury. You don't know exactly if he's fully healthy or not. Chris Olave, no quarterback. Devontae Smith, he's going to be the number one receiver now, probably because Mekhi Lemon's there, and they don't throw the ball very much, right? Garrett Wilson, no quarterback. Um, you know, it gets scary, dude, and it gets scary pretty fast. Like you have a lot of these receivers that are excellent talents, right? Phenomenal talents, but you can't rely on a shitty offense and a bad quarterback. So it does really get scary when you get to that second tier level.
Remember though, hold on. Remember, Chris Olave last year um, had two shitty quarterbacks, and he finished the wide receiver 6 last year in PPR, half PPR. He's a sneaky name. I was gonna sneak him in there, but Drew's absolutely right. Normally I take exactly the same approach, but that's what's going to be really, really tricky this year that people are going to overlook is it's so much this year is into the systems and the coaches. But anyways, I won't interrupt Drew. I just wanted Drew to point that out that he finished wide receiver 6 last year. That's massive value.
That's actually pretty crazy. But yeah. So when I think about it, like where I think who can be like that next tier, like who are you gonna get that I think you're gonna be like really happy about? For me, I think Tedero McMillan, like we've been talking about the Panthers, I think he's somebody that I would love to have. I think Emeka Ibuka is somebody I would absolutely love to have. With Mike Evans gone, obviously they need more targets there from somebody. I think Ibuka is somebody who can easily take those targets. And then the one that I keep falling in love with it because I think there's nobody else there, and they just traded away Kayshon Boutte, is AJ Brown. You get AJ Brown back.
What do you think, Jake?
With Mike Vrabel, I get it. Like he has stung the people in the past, but dude, you put him with Drake May, who's been a fantastic quarterback. I just think that you get AJ Brown on your team, especially if you get him like in the late second, maybe like early third. Oh, you're gonna absolutely love it. Like you're absolutely gonna love it. That's to me, that's like that's one of my biggest circles on my draft board. He's somebody I'm trying to target every single time. I think Rashee Rice is another one too. People are kind of forgetting about. I think in general, as a whole, the whole Chiefs offense is something that we're forgetting about. I think, I know we phased off running backs, but Kenneth Walker can be an absolute steal for so many people this year. There's nobody really there behind him. It's going to be the Kenneth Walker show for sure. And you add that to a guy who's coming off of an injury and Patrick Mahomes just ready to start. Like they didn't make the playoffs. Like that guy's going to literally trying to catch the world on fire. And I think that offense, I want pieces in the Kansas City offense this year. I really do.
Well, so if you're either going to be watching live or you're coming back and watching our show later, but mind you, we talked about earlier, it's about your point system. And so now if we're talking about the second and third tier being a little scary, okay, so maybe if you're in a standard league, you need to target those high touchdown guys for sure. Maybe in your first receiver pick, okay, but in the later rounds in PPR leagues, you might have to lean on those receptions, those high reception inside guys, because it is getting a little scary. Doesn't mean production's not going to be there. It's just where do you find it this year, right? Where do you find your production? Because it's all about where you're putting up your fantasy points. Bust. Wide receiver bust, Jake. Uh, it's really hard, I think, to talk about. One thing that I wrote down, I don't see a miraculous comeback from Tua. Hopefully Penix can come back, but I really am feeling a drop from Drake London this year. The guy's a monster. The guy has done a lot, but I'm just not. I don't see how Tua's the answer, and I don't see how a recovered Penix is either. So unfortunately, Drake London might have to do something. What do you have?
Well, first let me go through my after the top five, okay? And I consider the top five period. Obviously, Jamar Chase, Puka Nacua, Jackson Smith and Jigma, C.D. Brown, and then Amon Ra. Amon Ra finishes inside the top five every year, and every year he's always drafted right outside the top five. Amon Ra is going to be the guy. So my guys after that, people are forgetting about Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson and Kyler Murray are going to be just fine. People are going to remember the Justin Jefferson last year. He has a massive comeback year. I love Justin Jefferson this year. Chris Olave now has an actual. If you go look and you look what Tyler Shout did at the with his numbers last year, they said in the last 5 weeks. Tyler Shupp would have been on the numbers that he put up, that pace, he would have been quarterback number 3 in the NFL based on his numbers at the end of last year. Jordan Tyson,
Crazy.
Jordan Tyson, just went down. I love Chris Olave. So Justin Jefferson, Chris Olave, I agree with you. Drake London is the man. I love Drake London. And, people are sleeping on Nico Collins. Jordan Higgins just went down. They had supposedly gotten better on that the offensive line. You have C.J. Stroud wanting $70 million a year. If Nico Collins stays healthy, where are you going to draft Nico Collins? Because, again, he's one of those guys. He just hasn't been a wow, I'm inspired kind of guy. He's going to slip down into those, there's just too many names. Like, for example, Rashee Rice, who, based on reports at camp, Rashee Rice looks slow. He doesn't look like he's able to cut the ball. And they're saying that there's a guy in the Chiefs wide receiver room that is lighting the world on fire that Patrick Mahomes goes to every time. And it is rookie wide receiver Cyrus Allen is the guy. Because Rashee Rice does not look like he's back to 100%. So he may be by the start of camp, who knows? But to round out the next top five, it is definitely 100% Nico Collins. Now let me get to AJ Brown. let me get to AJ Brown. Okay. First off, I've seen video of it, but reports around the report that have been coming off of the guys at Twitter, like on or whatever X, read it myself. I've seen the videos people put up. There is not a chemistry there between Drake May and AJ Brown yet. A lot of missed passes, just a lot of timing. Could they work that out? Sure. But I had this guy last year, and I've watched his ass very closely. It's not a thing about talent. He's got all the talent in the world. But he quit. He didn't want to play football there. And I don't know. The guy, he says that's not the case. There was no problem, anything like that. But he didn't. Last year, he did not get separation. He did not outrun anybody. He dropped balls. It just... people can go ahead. I'm hearing all this AJ Brown finishing, and I had to tune in. I tuned into those stupid fantasy footballers, and they were all ranting about AJ Brown and this and that.
Get him out of there.
Got the talent, the situation, to finish it, the top wide receiver and blah blah blah. It's like, bro, you got. They made it last year to the AFC Championship game without AJ Brown. He doesn't look like he's doing anything great this year. He didn't do anything great last year. He's a year older. Go, you guys, and the guy doesn't look like he's got any kind of passion for the game. I'm sorry, him and the reading the book thing, that still eats at my ass. But go ahead, like, people can go ahead and take AJ Brown all they want. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna let my recency bias take over on this one and say have him. I'm not gambling on that fucking guy. I may gamble on him just 1 out of 6 leagues.
Yes.
But I may just to buy insurance, so to speak, because dealer has blackjack every time I fucking play. But no, I'm not in on AJ Brown. And honestly, it's not really that much to do with how he looked last year with the Eagles, because everybody looked terrible with that offensive coordinator. To me right now, I haven't liked the fact that coming out of camp when usually beat reporters this time of the year, everything's positive. Everything's always trying to be positive and stuff. And it's always, right now it's like, the chemistry's not quite there yet. Timing's a little bit off. So we'll see what happens. But
you know what? Thank you, Jake, for setting off the tone on what we do here at the Sports Ranter. And so whether it hurts your soul or it hurts your lineup, you can come here at the Sports Ranter and live chat. It's a safe space for anybody. If you're at home with your blanket and you're looking at your fantasy team and people are talking shit to you and it really hurts, we are here for you at the Sports Ranter. Okay, yes, AJ Brown can be considered many names. Many names. We're going to try to keep it rated PG around here.
No shit.
I don't know. Maybe that wasn't very PG what Jake just said. But anyways, Drew, who was your bust? Who was your bust for wide receiver, Drew?
Well, I just wanted to say one more thing. If you're in a standard league, you'd be a fool not to get Mike Evans. That's all.
I knew it. Is that what you were going to say earlier? Is that what you were going to say earlier when you said I'm crazy? You had to say all of that. You had to say.
He's another one of my busts. He's hurt again.
Oh, here we go.
Drew, he just came on. They just got him back onto the practice field today from the hand.
I love it.
He went off again because he's hurt.
I love it.
I think he's
No. Let's talk about this. No. Jake, let's give Drew some grace.
Yeah.
Because he has drafted Mike Evans in the 8th round the last 8 years.
Right.
So he is not having Niner bias here. 100%.
No, I get it. And listen.
Right?
If they're being just cautious with the guy, because he has, we all know, like, he was just off the field because of a hamstring, and then they said it was kind of one of those. It's more for precautionary reasons or whatever. And then today I get up and I'm reading all the news on Sleeper. I'm going down the feed. Mike Evans back in practice on the field working. And then it's like I get off work, I look and it says Mike Evans comes off the field with a uncomfort in his hamstring again. And I'm like, crap. You do not have to sell Mike Evans at all to me. If that guy's healthy on the San Francisco 49ers with Brock Purdy, I will eat that steak all night long. Absolutely, 100%.
It comes down to health, for sure. It really does. Yeah, absolutely. So
if he's healthy, I'm with Drew, man. Like there's no bias. Ray Charles could see that's going to be a good pick in any format. Forget about PPR standard.
Well, look here, guys. For the sake of time, let's try to move through the tight end spot real quick. This is the area I need most help with because every year I bite too early and I suck. And I tell myself I'm not going to do it again. And I do it again and again and again and again and again. F these tight ends. Where's Julian Thomas? Where's Gronkowski and Gates when you need them, right? And so, anyways, real quick, let's go over through this second tier tight end, which is everybody else other than one guy, right? So I don't know how we're going to discover this, but I'm going to shut up with the tight end thing. You guys kind of hit it, and then we'll end it with the QBs because we haven't covered that yet. Drew, he skipped the QB. He was salivating for the running backs. We all draft running backs early. I get it, Drew. It's all I get it, but we're gonna cover the quarterbacks still. So, Drew, tight ends. Who do you think can pop up in there that might be productive, or just be that guy sitting there on your roster to fill up space?
This year is the year. Okay, anybody that knows me, anybody that knows my draft strategy, anybody that's ever played any fantasy football with me, they know I basically take a tight end in the top 6 rounds. So it's like a guarantee. Um, this year I highly doubt I'm taking a tight end in the first 6 rounds because there is so many good tight ends this year where it's not like the way it is like the last 10 15 years of football. There's like 3 or 4 tight ends and the rest are trash. This year, this tight end class, like the tight ends in the league are just getting better and better and better. TJ Warren, you got Tucker Kraft, you got, these are so many people. There's so many good ones. Obviously, George Kittle coming back off injury. You have, I mean, the list goes on and on and on. Like where I really feel like I'm personally not going to reach on a tight end early. I really don't think so.
Because
it's
you
just one
don't
of those things.
because you don't think it's scarce. You think that there's value. So.
I think it's deep. I mean, you got Brock Bowers. You got so many like tight ends that are there. Like guys like Tucker Kraft. You know what I mean? They're going to be there probably in this 8th or 9th, maybe even 10th round. You're going to be able to get. Let me go through this list here. Let me just, I know there's people I'm sleeping on too. I'm not even thinking of. Give me a second here. Like, if I walked out Loveland, you know what I mean? Like, those guys are great. Laporta is going to get slept on. Dallas Goedert, no more A.J. Brown. When Dallas Goedert played and A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith were out, he was damn near a top 5 every single year. You got Kyle Pitts, who's still pretty damn good and pretty athletic. Obviously, you still have Isaiah Likely, who just signed with the Giants. He's going to be the main guy over there. There is a lot. Dalton Kincaid is still pretty damn good. There are a lot of tight ends that you can get late that I think where you look at it and you'll be like, all right, cool. Like, I got one of those guys, I'll be fine. Like,
right.
yes, you want to have, the Trey McBride. Yes, you want to have, some of these other guys that look great. You want to have the Brock Bowers or you want to have the Warren. But, like, the separation between, Loveland and somebody say, like, Tucker Kraft probably isn't that much, isn't crazy, where you can probably take Dallas Goedert in the 8th round or the 9th round, and you're probably going to be pretty damn happy that you got him there. The disparity in the top 3 are still going to probably be pretty high, but outside of those top 3 guys, like, you're probably going to be fine with whoever you have. So unless you're taking Trey McBride, you're going to have to probably take him the 2nd, probably the 3rd round if you take Trey McBride. He's the only one that stands alone, right? Like, he is the top tier. There's no other question about it.
Oh,
like,
Brock Bowers?
I mean, he could be, but you have a new quarterback. Like,
you have a quarterback. Well, I'll just say this. Who's your new quarterback, at least for the first half?
Mendoza.
Well, you got Kirk Cousins that's starting the season.
Sure.
Okay. Where was Kirk Cousins last year?
In Atlanta with I get it.
You know who finished? Where do you guys know?
Where's Nick?
Kyle Pitts finished last year in fantasy rankings for tight ends.
3rd, right?
Tight end 2.
Okay, yeah, I knew he
was. You have.
But he had one fucking monster game.
He did, and to your point, there is not a lot of disparity that makes a guy that finishes tight end 3, 4, 5 any much different from tight end 10, 11, 12. But I'm just saying, you have a quarterback that you have a rookie quarterback and a quarterback that is, by the way, side note, Kirk Cousins is going to be a lot better than people think this year.
I agree.
It's extremely normal for quarterbacks coming off these torn Achilles in their 2nd year to actually get back to form. People are going to be surprised by that. But I think Brock Bowers is setting records for tight ends this year. They brought in Jalen Naylor is their top receiver this year. They brought in nobody. Brock Bowers is going to get 190 targets between Kirk Cousins and them. But anyway, Go ahead. Finish what you were saying, Drew.
No, so I mean, for me, it's just one of those things where I look at like Jake said, those top three guys are worth that extra gamble. But like outside of those top three guys, there's not a lot that really I'm juiced up about. You know what I mean? Like that's why for me it's like, yeah, I want one of those guys, but at draft cost, I don't know if I'll be like content. You know what I mean? Like I know that there's other ones I can look at. I can probably go get myself like an Omari and Hampton, or I can go get myself a Kenneth Walker. Um, that that kind of thing for me. What's up, dude?
Say hi. Say hi.
Sorry, that's my little one. Yeah.
No worries.
But yeah, no. So for me, it's just one of those things where I look at it like I want to get probably one of those top tier running backs instead of trying to go out and get a tight end just because
Who?
I feel like there is so much more disparity there.
So, I guess we'll talk about it later. I mean, it's not really a bust if there's only one guy in the top tier, right? So, like I said, we'll figure it out. We'll see. Maybe Travis Kelce is a bust if you get him high, but that's your fault.
What do you think, Jake? Like, what do you look at as far as tight ends go?
Well, I'll say this because Drew, I'm with you. It seems like there's all these names and there's all these tight ends. Remember, right now the NFL is transitioning to a lot of what they call this 12-man system,
Right.
where they're running two tight ends.
Correct.
So there's this opportunity.
3-1. 3 personnel.
There's all these.
Yeah.
There's opportunity like for all these tight ends to be on the field and stuff. I love Brock Bowers. I love Trey McBride. I think those are a tier beyond with themselves. I actually like Tyler Warren more than I like Colston Loveland. You just lost Michael Pittman in free agency, and Alec Pierce. They paid all this money. He's hurt. Josh Downs is hurt. Tyler Warren will be ready. He got dinged up. I think the knee that he'll be fine for week 1. Tyler Warren to me is the guy that everybody is high up on Loveland because of how Loveland finished last year. But Tyler Warren's the guy that is going to get the targets. Colston Loveland has to share target. There's a lot of mouths to feed in Chicago. With Dunze, Luther Burden, and DeAndre Swift. There's a lot to go around, and there's going to be a lot of weeks where Colston Loveland disappears, I think, just based on kind of how game script goes.
Yeah.
Kyle Pitts is the guy. I'm sorry. Kyle Pitts, if you look, Kevin Stefanski is now the coach over in Atlanta. Kevin Stefanski was the guy who, and unfortunately, I heard, this is information I had just got privy to. But if you look at Kevin Stefanski coach teams, he schemes for the tight end. He schemes for the tight end. Well, you got Drake London over there, and you have that's it. Drake London, and then obviously Bijan. But I think Kyle Pitts is going to have a monster year.
Wow.
Which to me, we're all high up on Harold Fannin, but
Yep.
who was the coach for Harold Fannin on the Browns last year? Stefanski.
Yeah.
And
And David Njoku. I mean, you look at David Njoku; he's been always damn good with the Cleveland and Stefanski. So
Very true.
Yep. Yeah, so, and I love George Kittle until he's going to get hurt. But you're right. There's a lot of Dalton Kincaids. There's a lot of Isaiah Likeleys. There's a lot of Dallas Goddards and all this and that. But people need to remember that yes, you can wait and punt the position and get one of those guys late, but those guys are going to be busts. There's a handful of those guys that you think are like, oh my God, Isaiah Likely, this and that. There's very little disparity between your 5, 6, 7 and your 10, 11, 12 guys. You are going to be dropping some of these guys which in the preseason look like this is a can't miss. I can get this guy late. You can't have all your eggs in the basket to punt the position and get a guy like Dallas Goedert late. Mekhi Lemon could take all the AJ Brown, AJ Brown's gone, this and that. Oh, so there's 5 targets up for grabs? Maybe it don't make that much of a difference. So, anyways.
Real quick, I'll just say you guys are doing a fantastic in covering all these tight ends that are going to produce. But you know how I stack my bench. I think there's one tight end out there who played a total of, I think, 3 games last year. He still had 6 touchdowns. and about 300 yards. Mr. Darren Waller there that got signed last minute by Carolina. Okay?
Yeah,
I know we're not supposed to talk
By
about...
Carolina?
Yeah, shut up! He got signed, and all I'm saying is if you...
In my league, I'll give you an extra bench spot.
I'm not saying nothing. I'm just saying there's some touchdown value if you're having to make a decision later. Okay. Well, enough with that said. Let's move on to, and lastly, the quarterback position. Okay, we know the top tier guys, obviously. Josh Allen is going to, I think, be the king of the hill again this year. Okay, but who's going to creep in this year? Is anybody going to creep into some fantasy relevance? Is there a new generation of quarterbacks that we can count on? Because I'm tired of it. Okay, Drew? So, let us know. Who's going to creep in as something that I can draft maybe next year? Because I'm not going to draft anybody, you guys say. I promise. You know what I'm saying. Who's creeping in this year? Who's creeping in this year to Falcons as a quarterback?
Well, one of the guys I really liked last year, and I'm hoping I can kind of keep this momentum going, is I really like Drake May. I got Drake May in almost all my leagues at the end. Right. For me, it's one of those kind of guys where I feel like this year we kind of saw it last year, right? We saw him kind of get into the groove last year, and I think now he's getting more receivers healthy. I think Trevor Lawrence has the real opportunity to kind of get to where he needs to be. I think Trevor Lawrence is somebody I'm circling on my draft boards. Obviously, I mean, everybody always forgets about him, and I don't know why, because all he is a fantasy, like, legit, like, he's a plug and play every time. Dak Prescott gets forget about all the time. He's the only one in the league. Well, there's a couple other ones that are good, but when you look at receivers, like, who else do you want your quarterback throwing to the ball to? Like, George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb are right there, and like, all they do is air out the fucking football there, dude. So,
and they're tight end too, right? Their tight end went off last year for sure.
Yeah, Jake Ferguson. And so, all they do is air it out, dude. And Dak's money. Yeah, he might throw a couple picks here and there, but he's absolute money. Obviously Patrick Mahomes, like I already said, like I think Mahomes is gonna bounce back pretty damn well. Me being a homer, I like Brock Purdy. And so, like, but the one of the guys that I really do like and I really do think can be pretty damn good is Jackson Dart. It's scary, right? It's scary because you're kind of banking on Malik Neighbors, and like you got a lot of these guys that, I mean, they're kind of like, I guess, like the Niners in a way, where a lot of these guys be getting injured, right? Jackson Dart, obviously, he likes to play like an idiot, and he likes to try and lower that head down for an extra yard or two, or this, that, and the other. But the rush value is good. Cam Scatterbo looks like he's pretty damn good. Obviously, Malik Neighbors coming back. Like, he's just one of those kind of guys where I think with the rushing upside, Jackson Dart kind of brings to me a little bit more of an intrigue. So he's somebody I'm looking to add. And the one I really want to do stay off of, and I know it kind of sounds crazy, but I think Caleb Williams, to me, is somebody who I kind of want to stay off of. They were hot last year. Ben Johnson took over. Like, I get it, but, like, DJ Moore's gone, and I think that's kind of a big thing. Rome Odunze had flashes of being good, but then he had games where he was just completely irrelevant. I just kind of feel like the second year or the third year hype or whatever, Caleb Williams is kind of something I kind of want to stay off of. I obviously, if he's there in a round where I feel comfortable, like, I'll take him. But I personally rather take my shot on a guy like Trevor Lawrence than probably Caleb Williams.
Fantastic.
That's just me.
Fantastic. Jake, we're talking about quarterbacks a lot because quarterbacks are very relevant. A lot of people draft late. A lot of people like yourself like to draft early because you like the guaranteed points. Okay, so that's what I'm asking you. I'm not asking you who's going to have guaranteed points. I'm asking you who may creep in to guaranteed points this year.
Oh, this is perfect. It's going to be hilarious with the quarterbacks this year. So the one guy that I'm looking, obviously Josh Allen is, moment of silence to hail his greatness. But, the Lamar Jackson and all that, what I can't understand is there was a guy that finished quarterback 6 and quarterback 7 the last two years, and he threw more passes than anybody in football last year. And he is not even. I'm on Sleeper right now, and he's not even in the top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. And they just added a wide receiver 1, Bo Nix. They just added Jalen Waddle. And without Jalen Waddle, the last 2 years, he finished quarterback 7 and quarterback 6. Okay. No, you guys go ahead and you guys take all the Dak Prescotts, you guys take all the Josh Allens, all the Lamar Jacksons. You know who's going to be a butt kicker? PG, we're PG. Give me Matthew Stafford.
PG.
Give me Matthew Stafford. Give me Bo Nix. You know who I'll ride all day? I'll ride all day. Give me Kyler Murray, who just won the starting job with Justin Jefferson. You know who I will ride all day in the last round the quarterback 3 through the last 5 weeks with Kellen Moore's offense. Give me Tyler Shuck all day.
You stole it.
I'm sorry,
Look.
my boy Josh Allen. I'll see you in my dreams, but I won't.
No way. No.
Because there are too many guys. There is not enough teams in our leagues that can take the guys that have late round value that are going to be league winners every single year. Matthew Stafford is not drafted, and then he finished as what? What did Matthew Stafford finish last year?
Very true.
What did he finish? Oh, quarterback 3. Quarterback 3 off the waivers, and guess where he's at again? He's all the way down there, and all they do is they get better and better and better. Sorry, guys, I'm not. I mean, there's the value at quarterback late is so deep, deep.
You did steal my line. I did say that someone will shuck you up, and I do think Tyler Shuck.
I'm coming after him.
First round pick receiver. Also, Chris Olave. They got some tight end help too. We're not saying who.
Well, he's done. The first receiver's done. Jordan Tyson's hurt. He's out. He's done.
Oh, wow.
So, he was
Whatever,
hurt.
Chris Olave it is. But like you said, he was Chris Olave. I had Chris Olave on the bench last year, Jake, for 6 weeks.
Oh, my God.
And he still performed.
Well, Schuff didn't win the job until, I think, mid-season. Okay? Yeah. But when Schuff got in there, Olave was a monster. They just paid him. Olave and Schuff is going to be the stack, and I'm going to take it.
He is going to shuck you up. Well, listen up, folks. I just want to say thank you real quick to the 20,000 subscribers around the world for chiming in. We hope you guys learned a little bit on how to construct your fantasy football teams, right? Whether it be your pointing, number one, your pointing system. You got to figure out if it's standard. You got to figure out if it's PPR. And then you have to draft accordingly depending on where the value falls, correct? Like I said, we always know that there's always a top 5, but there's always value late. You got to figure out the value late, okay? So I want to say thank you to the SportsRanter Nation. Thank you, Jake and Drew, for being here again today and starting off Season 5 with that great energy. I'm so excited about this year, guys. We're getting official here at SportsRanter. Shout out, Jake. Another surprise shout out as we leave to soccerverse.com, a possible collaboration with the SportsRanter. And really excited about that news coming forward. And we will bring that here with you guys here in the future. And so with that said, we have now started, folks. It is the best weekend in the world. We draft next week. We will be here next Monday. And I'm speechless. I'm speechless. So love you guys. Love you guys. It's great to be back. What a great break. Like I said, we'll be here all the way until the end of April, right? Starting now. Every way till the end of April. So love you guys. We'll see you guys later. Right? Next week.
Hold on. Drew,
Whoa.